high discipline, high aggressiveness, high moral.
Before I begin, I would just really want to set the record straight. With the advent of these 59 South Africans coming to South Africa, going from South Africa to America as refugees, it's a blatant slap in the face of the South African local population, of the indigenous African people and of the Khoisan San indigenous people. The only true victims of genocide in this land are the Khoisan San, Mr. Chair, and the native Aboriginal and native African indigenous peoples. And the perpetrators of those genocides against us are now crying victimhood in Washington and clutching Trump's hand as refugees. These are the white Afrikaners and British descendants. They are not the people that are the victims, they are the perpetrators. Afrikaners are not the hunted, they are the hunters. They are not dispossessed, they are dispossessors. They are not oppressed. They are the descendants of conquerors, slavers, land thieves, and mass murderers, protected for decades by apartheid laws, and now shielded by a constitution they helped design to keep their stolen land, which they stole from us and our forefathers, by acts of violence. Afrikaner settlers hunted Khoisan San people as vermin until 1957, using government-issued permits under the so-called Vermin Act, issued by an Afrikaner government. They cut our heads off, put it in bags, and that's how they claim the land. And they cut our women's breasts off after raping them and used them for tobacco bags. These are what they so-called refugees have done to us for generations. They ordered and introduced biological warfare through the deliberate spread of smallpox to wipe out indigenous populations. They cleared out our ancestral lands, which is now their wine farms, $1 million wine farms, their $1 million beach homes, and their $1 million wine estates, through murder, through rape, through forced removals, and spiritual desecration of the First Nation Aboriginal Khoisan San people who still live here in the same concentration camps that the Afrikaner apartheid government put us in. So there mustn't be a confusion about who the perpetrators are. These Afrikaners are not the victims. There's only been one Afrikaner killing. Only one farm murder in 2024. Does that constitute a genocide? No. They refused to allow the Khoisan San to be recognized alongside other African tribes in the post-apartheid era, deliberately silencing other historical presence to hold onto our land and violate international laws like the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People and the ILO Convention 169. And now the same people who presided over 400 years of genocide, who have the audacity now to come and claim they are victims. No, this is nonsense, Mr. Chair. As President Ramaphosa meets with President Trump today, we are witnessing the export of a manufactured crisis, a geopolitical tool wrapped in false sympathy and used to destabilize our sovereignty. Trump's springtime refugee program for white South Africans is not based in reality. It is based on the propaganda of Afriforum, Solidarity, and the Democratic Alliance. The Agricultural Minister, John Steenhuisen, is not his first trip there. He's been to those places and he's been telling them nonsense about what's happening and about land reform. They know they stole the land. They know they killed our people. They massacred our people and hunted us until 1938, 37 with permits. And yet they now go and claim that they are the ones that are under threat. This is the same America that claimed Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, launched an illegal war in Iraq, killed 10 million people, and simply said, oops, we lied, sorry. We must expose this playbook. The United States is again lying to the world to justify intervention in our sovereignty as a pretext for diplomatic, economic, and perhaps even military intervention and persecution against the sovereign African nation based on false lies and false narratives. Let us set the record straight here today. In 2024, like I said, there was only one white farmer killed. In the same year, 2024, over 2,500 young colored and black males were slaughtered in the Cape Flats, armed by the SAPS and by government, left to die in gangster war zones designed by apartheid planners and preserved by post-apartheid elites. Yet these murders of the poor and non-white majority Christians, South Africans, do not make it to Fox News. There is no asylum for a colored or a Christian or Muslim mother and her children in Lavender Hill and other gang and drug infested unsafe communities suffering under the ANC and GNU's uncaring government who maintains gangsterism instead of solving its problems. Why can we, as the Khoisan San, not claim asylum in America? Whereas our perpetrators can, the racists who are the perpetrators of apartheid and have still benefited from the land till today, they are crying and running away because justice is coming, because righteousness is coming, because they fear justice. This isn't about safety, this is about justice. So the Afrikaners are not fleeing persecution, they are fleeing accountability. They, the Afrikaners and British descendants, are running to America to intervene in our sovereign land reform processes because they are protecting their greed and hoarding and racist apartheid and colonial stolen land and the stolen minerals. And they now want to steal all our oil deposits and gas deposits we just discovered to get richer and fatter while the people suffer in poverty in the world's richest mineral wealth countries. Our oil reserves alone can be used by a caring government to free all South Africans from poverty and economic uncertainty, but they still choose under the GNU instead to keep hoarding it. And even the 59 that ran as refugees to America went clutching stolen mine ownership papers and farm ownership documents with them so they can keep looting, keep leeching of South Africa, even while they blackmail us as refugees in the USA. These Afrikaners and those that live here with us are the perpetrators and thieves and murderers trying to use America's media might to whitewash their evil and delay justice for the poor Aboriginal and Indigenous rightful owners of this land. And they are therefore the main cause of all our land and social economic problems to this day, and they must be held accountable, and NK will hold them accountable. Let me remind you, Mr. Chair, we are the oldest First Nation people in the world, the Khoi and the San. We ran a thriving port and trade route in Cape Town long before Jan van Riebeeck's arrival, trading gold, water, food, meat, large domesticated animals. We were the biggest, most powerful trading nation in the world when Jan van Riebeeck then came here. We weren't just herders, and we weren't just the San. There's the Khoi and then there's the San. As the Khoi, we had a nation, we had a standing military, we had kings, we had armies. So we were dispossessed not by accident, but by design. The real genocide is the legalized hunting and killing and attempted erasure of the rights of the South African Aboriginal and Indigenous people. And while Afrikaners live on these stolen farms, we live in backyards, in shacks, in silence. Our kings and our queens are not recognized. Our languages are dying. Our ancestral sites are now golf courses, luxury lodges, and wine estates. This is economic genocide, spiritual erasure, and political exclusion. That is why uMkhonto Wesizwe has launched the country's first ever private members bill for the recognition of the Khoi and San as a First Nation people in this country, as well as the African indigenous people. And we will claim our priorities and we'll claim our rights under UNDRIP, which we signed in 2007. The Afrikaners are running because they know what they have done. They are running because they see the wave of indigenous awakening, youth mobilization, and Pan-African unity rising in support of MKP, a true liberation movement and the only true voice of the people. They are running because we are demanding justice, not just for apartheid, but for colonial conquest, and we are demanding restorative justice, restitution, and our land and mineral rights back, as is our international right. We demand the full recognition of the Khoi and San First Nation peoples. We need the return of ancestral land for Khoi and San and African indigenous peoples. We want the nullification of apartheid-era land titles granted under forced removals. We want reparations for 400 years of extermination and exploitation. And we want the restoration of our traditional leaders, councils with legislative power and land custodianship. The changing of the world's most corrupt and anti-Aboriginal and anti-Indigenous constitution, especially Section 25 and the 1913 limit for claims, has to be done. We are already protected under the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, and the ANC and the GNU is in violation of these laws, and we will take that matter to the ICJ if this is not corrected by MK. This state has violated this international law since 2017. The US under Trump has ideology, and his ideological MAGA movement is not just falsely accusing us. They're not acting in diplomatic good faith. They know the truth, and yet they are espousing lies. They're supposed to be a Christian nation. How can they lie like this and perpetuate the lie? It is not protecting refugees. It's enabling white supremacists to regroup and evade justice. What is their true agenda? Their true agenda, as can be seen by the meetings by Johan Rupert and by Elon Musk and the business community, the Stellenbosch mafia that is the true owners of this land, the true rulers of this land. It's not Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa is not taking them, they're taking Ramaphosa to the president because they want to secure access to South Africa's rare earth minerals, lithium, vanadium, cobalt, and platinum. We own 85% of the world's rare earth minerals, and of not the rare earth minerals, of the world's platinum minerals groups. They're trying to derail BRICS break multipolar unity, and reimpose dollar hegemony. To use false claims of genocide, justify future trade sanctions, asset seizures, and even military threats. That is an ungodly and unjust narrative. They want our land, they want our minerals, but they do not want our people to live with dignity and for that minerals to go to free our people from poverty. We will not accept any more of these lies as MKP. We will tell the truth and the history of our people, which has been denied and erased, so that these colonists that come from Europe can say that this is their land. This is not their land. They decided to take our land by force, by killing our people, by apartheid laws. They include Areas Act of 1950. They just moved us from our lands, from our farms, from the beaches, from the beautiful places we stayed. They took us and they chucked us into concentration camps and they left us there just to be cheap labor for them. And we will not stand for that. Just to be clear, we are not anti-white. We are anti-colonial. We are not anti-American. We are anti-imperialism. You know, I used to respect this guy, Jordan Peterson. I saw him on YouTube until he gave a global stage to Dr. Ernest Roots, a discredited apartheid apologist, ideological protagonist, and a mouthpiece for Afriforum's white nationalist revisionism. In doing so, Peterson betrayed his own intellectual legacy, choosing racist mythology over academic integrity. You know, I just want to say, Mr. Chair, this is completely a whitewash and hack job that they're trying to do through American media and American social media. When you look at the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, in his support for this narrative, has shown himself to be an ideological descendant of apartheid's foreign backers. He has no right to speak on South African history, even when he cannot even acknowledge America's own crimes, from the slaughter of the Native Americans and the refusal to return the land to them and give them what is rightfully theirs, and the genocide against them, to the genocide and slaughter of innocents in Iraq and in Gaza. They claim a false genocide here in South Africa, but they're blind to the real genocide in Gaza. How hypocritical is that? And that's completely unchristian. When you look at the inclusion of Jan Rupert and other Stellenbosch mafia and their talks with Elon Musk and other South African linked business people, it shows their motives only to keep South Africa white monopoly, power over our lands and over our resources. Their presence in these meetings undermines our sovereignty, makes it clear who owns and runs South Africa, and they are doing deals behind closed doors under President Ramaphosa's watch, while our people are enslaved further, dispossessed once again, and our own resources and Aboriginal and individual indigenous Africans once again is being stolen from under us in quiet meetings in Washington. This delegation of private landowners and mine owners shows who really is represented by the president, the GNU, and the ANC. They are the puppets of the West. This is another attempted coup of our oil and rare earth minerals and commodities, an attempted hijacking of our sovereign telecommunications through Starlink without any BEE empowerment. These are the faces of our oppressors, white Afrikaner landowners who still hold on to stolen land at the expense of the people, and they are trying to pull us away from the global south and BRICS and enslave us through debt and white genocide lies to the USA and the Western world. As MKP, we will undo all of this in 2029 when we take over national government. The Ruperts and white minority capital do not speak for us. They speak for themselves and the business and political GNU elite. And any deals they sign on Aboriginal and Indigenous land will be declared null and void under the Cohen Sun Recognition Bill and under an MKP government in 2029. Let the Americans also be warned. We are non-aligned, and we have hundreds of USA companies making money in our markets, and you depend on our ports and trade routes around the tip of Africa, and your technology depends on our rare earth minerals, and we own 87% of the world's platinum group minerals. Sanctions, tariffs, and exclusion can go both ways. If the USA wants to threaten us and cut us out of AGOA, we will reciprocate and we will cut USA off all our markets and our economy, and they will never touch our mineral oil and oil wealth if they continue to spread lies and falsehoods about white genocide and receiving racist refugees. Under MKP, we will summons America and President Trump here to account for his lives, not for us to go there and plead with a hand in our cap. Because we have the authority, we are from Africa, this is our land and this is our resources. In closing, Mr. Chair, I just want to say we've had enough of the lies. Can people just not speak the truth? And we as MK, we've been standing up for the people. We are saying the resources belong to the people who are originally from this land, the Aboriginal people, indigenous people, black, colored, Khoisan people, all our people deserve to share in the wealth of this land. Thank you, Mr. Chief.